Hello, hello. Welcome, guys, to the Sabby Sab Show on Revolutionary Blackout Network. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. We have an interesting show tonight. Some interesting things transpired yesterday. I know some of you are wondering what the hell is going on with Twitter, so I'm definitely going to talk about that. And we're also going to get into this discussion here about Joe Manchin. So interesting things to talk about. People don't panic. People don't panic. I've already seen the comments. Don't freak out. We're going to get into it. Now, what are we going to discuss tonight? All right, we're talking about Elon Musk Twitter fail. Yikes, he really stepped in it, and people are not happy about that. I'm also going to discuss Joe Manchin recruitment begins. What is happening with Joe Manchin, and why is Kevin McCarthy in this picture? We're going to get into both of those stories tonight. Really quick, I want to give a shout out to people watching on YouTube and Twitter. I had issues with Rockfin again. I have to figure that out. But welcome, guys. And I want to give quick shout outs to people in the chat. So greetings. Shout out to Fifi. Love me some billionaire failure. Does not change anything, of course, but it is nice every now and then. What's going on? CBC voter says, happy Friday, Sabs. Doobie-doo. Greetings, Yep X. Saw the socialist voice on Twitter speculate based on sources that Twitter might go down sometime this weekend. We're going to get into that. Song Weaver, what's going on? Woot TGIF, y'all. What's going on with you, Song? Shout out to Raziel the Great. I'm here early for the first time in ages. Welcome. Shout out to Obama. Says, holla. Greetings, Autobot Prowler. Hi, Shabby. I love you kids. Hi, Sabrina. What is going on? Greetings, Terry says, hello, fam. Shout out to Wary. Says, hey, everybody. Greetings, X Mobile says, hey, ya. What's going on? Eric T. Red sends a thumbs up. Shout out to Anthony sends a smile. Guys, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with the Joe Manchin story because there's two things about this that I want to break down. The first part is this. Joe Manchin is actively being recruited, but not to do what you think. And who is he being recruited by? Hold on to your horses for this one because this is hilarious to me. I can't believe it, but it's happening. Here we go. Republicans eye Joe Manchin as top target in 2024. I can't make this up if I wanted to, guys. This is where we're at now. Let's get into this story. Senate Republicans, make this a little bit bigger. Their font is so small. Savvy not to like. If I can get rid of this stupid video. I wish that would go away. Why is that there? You guys have got to get rid of these videos. I guess I have to make it a little bit smaller for it to. Okay, there we go. Senate Republicans say Senator Joe Manchin will be a top electoral target in 2024, even though he has voted with them more often than any other Senate Democrat and helped Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell block an effort to reform the chamber's filibuster rule. So yes, the Republican Party is actually looking at someone like Joe Manchin to run in 2024. I kid you not the Democratic Party, which is the party he's a part of, the Republican Party. Can't make this up if I wanted to. Go away. Go away. Good Lord. Smarting from the disappointing failure to retake the Senate majority in this year's midterms, Republican strategists predict that McConnell will pour millions of dollars into West Virginia next cycle to flip Manchin's seat. Listen to this. West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisey, one of the several Republicans who could challenge Manchin in 2024, said the centrist Democrat will pay a political price for supporting the Inflation Reduction Act, which included major components of President Biden's agenda, such as tax reform, prescription drug reform, and hundreds of billions of dollars to fight climate change. The Senate passed in August by straight party line vote in the 50-50 Senate. Senator Manchin deeply disappointed West Virginians and let them down tremendously when he supported the Build Back Broke bill last summer. Build Back Broke bill. That legislation really hit our state very hard. You can dress up the pig any way you want, but most people in West Virginia understand that the bill is going to hurt us. Now, this is really interesting, and I say this because West Virginia is one of those states that does have a lot of environmental pollution. Paula Jean Swearengin has talked about this multiple times as someone who is a resident of that state. So it's really interesting to me that they would want to push back against some type of climate reform when you have people in West Virginia that are constantly being diagnosed with diseases like cancer, which Paula Jean Swearengin had pointed out as well, because of the environmental pollution. So this is interesting. Let's go on. Going on here. He let the air out of his balloon, and it's not going to be easy to pump it back up. Morrissey, who is evaluating options about what to do in 2024, said we're looking very closely at the Senate race. He and his allies believe that they have at least $12 million to spend on a Senate Republican primary alone. Oh boy. Morrissey narrowly lost his bid to unseat Manchin in 2018 by 3 percentage points, or about 19,000 votes, which turned out to be closer than what the polls indicated before Election Day. I learned a lot from a past experience in my terrible political environment. The environment in 2024 is going to be much, much stronger for Republicans. Are you guys hearing this? Okay, here we go. We're going on here. Other Republicans who could challenge Manchin include Governor Jim Justice, Republican, and Representative Alex Mooney, Republican of West Virginia. Manchin, who is 75 years old, won't say whether he will run for a fourth Senate term, but West Virginia political experts say he is showing every sign of gearing up for another run. But he may decide to retire when he reflects on just how bruising a battle he will face in the state that former President Trump won with 68% of the vote in 2016 and 69% of the vote in 2020. When asked about Republican plans to knock Manchin out of office, a spokeswoman for the senator said her boss doesn't shy away from a debate. A robust Democratic process has never been more important to our country, and Senator Manchin encourages every candidate who values public service to enter the race. Manchin defended his vote for the Inflation Reduction Act by saying it would give energy companies the certainty they need to increase domestic energy production and would lower health costs and reduce the deficit. And what this tells me, the complaints that they have right now, that they're surprised and upset that he had supported the Inflation Reduction Act, that right there let me know that the Republican Party feels that Joe Manchin was more so on their side than the Democratic Party side, because he has been striking down Democrat legislation all throughout the past year and a half. So they considered him to be a part of their team. And so by voting for that act, they feel like he betrayed them. Let's go on. It goes on to say, Republicans say they feel extra motivated to oust Manchin after he surprised them in July by announcing a deal with Senate Majority Leader Charles Schumer, which is Chuck, to raise corporate taxes and spend $370 billion on programs to fight climate change. Senate Republicans were furious the deal on the Inflation Reduction Act was announced only a few hours after 17 of them voted to pass a $280 billion bill to help domestic semiconductor manufacturing industry. The vote for the CHIPS and Science Act only after feeling, where did I go here? Whoopsie. I lost my spot. Only after feeling assured that Manchin would not agree to any tax reform or climate deal. They guaranteed that he will be a target So they are targeting Joe Manchin. So I think I said this wrong in the beginning. I said that they're looking at him to run in 2024. They're looking to target him in 2024. And what this tells you right here is, again, like I said, if they were surprised by his vote for the Inflation Reduction Act, that tells you that at the end of the day, both of these parties are on the same team. They're both on the same team. Let's go on here. I just know that there's no way he will get a pass after what he did with the reconciliation package. And they're referring to the Inflation Reduction Act there. Another Senate Republican strategist predicted a deluge of money into West Virginia in 2024 to defeat Manchin if he runs for re-election. So you see, they were all fine with him when he was voting against legislation that was put forth by Democrats. They were totally fine with Joe Manchin. But this one time that he decided to join the team that he is on and vote the way that they wanted him to vote, the Democratic Party wanted him to vote, now he got to go. Which leads me to think, who exactly was Joe Manchin really there for? Was he really there to push Democrat agenda, or was he there to make sure that the Republicans had a foothold? One more piece here, and then I have a video clip that I want to show you as well. Get down to this point here. Manchin showed this week that he's still willing to buck the Democratic Party leadership on big votes, even though he may need tens of millions of dollars in spending from Democratic allied groups to survive a tough re-election race in 2024. The West Virginia senator revealed to a spokeswoman this week that he is not comfortable holding a hearing on confirming Richard Glick, a Biden nominee, to serve another term on the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. So let's go ahead and come out of here, because now I want to show you a clip about a possible Joe Manchin opponent. And we got to give credit where credit is due here. The credit goes to Case Study QB. He's always doing the damn thing. Let me go ahead and share this here. This is really interesting because, you know, Joe Manchin, he tried to help the Republicans and now they turning on him, and the Democrats already mad at him because he's blocked so much legislation. So this is from Case Study QB. Listen to this interview here with Joe Manchin's potential future 2024 GOP challenger, Representative Alex Mooney. So here we go.
I've always been opposed in every election I've ever been in. So with that, I encourage people to get involved in the process. I think it'll be a very exciting, crowded primary on the Republican side, and we'll just see how it goes.
Joe Manchin kind of optimistic there. The senator from West Virginia gearing up for a challenge over his seat in 2 years. Republican Congressman Alex Mooney says, "Look out, I'm coming." He announced he will enter the ring to flip Manchin's seat in 2024. Joining us now, Representative Mooney. Congratulations on your win. What was it about? What is it about 2 years from now makes you think you want to be senator?
Well, I mean, this country has a divided Senate. Democrats are going to control it now for 2 more years. I was disappointed that we didn't take it over here last week in the election. I'm a conservative Republican. I believe that the state I live in, West Virginia, this beautiful state, is conservative. It was the second best state for Donald Trump. He got almost 70% of the vote here. I just think we should have a Republican U.S. senator and one that's conservative like me. And so I don't think Joe Manchin represents our state well, and I think we need a change there for a true conservative.
Congressman, the other thing that comes.
I just want to add in here, he said that he doesn't think that Joe Manchin represents their state well, so they need to switch to a conservative. The conservative isn't going to represent their state well either, because the conservative is still going to be holding to their donors. The conservative is still going to be a part of big money, just like Joe Manchin is. And by the way, I want to let you know, Joe Manchin is one of the wealthiest politicians in the Senate, one of the wealthiest ones. So Joe Manchin could just go retire and say F all of this. But the people who are going to lose are going to be the people in West Virginia. This is a state where the majority of the people, or not majority of the people, this is a state that the majority of the people in the state are white. But it's also one of the poorest states in the country. They're also almost last when you rank them in education and healthcare in this country. So it doesn't really matter if you have Joe Manchin in or if you have Alex Mooney in. It is very clear that over the years, the people who have been living in West Virginia are not benefiting from the politicians that are representing them. They're not benefiting at all. And it hasn't just been Paula Jean Swearengin. You saw the same thing with Richard Ojeda when he was running. He said the same thing. Look at all the people living in poverty. Look at all the people in West Virginia that are sick because of environmental pollution. And this is why it was really strange to me that more people didn't vote for Paula Jean Swearengin. To me, it just didn't make any sense. Why are you still voting for someone who is corporate, someone who is very, very wealthy, instead of voting for one of your own? Let's go back in.
To mind is the fact that you just told me in the break that Joe Manchin ran ads against you in your primary.
Yeah, that was the most surprising thing, I would say. I had a very tough primary against other incumbents. I prevailed by a wide margin, 19 percentage points. But I woke up one day and there was Joe Manchin's face on TV, frankly, personally attacking me and saying things that weren't true. And he went after me in a primary, which I thought was pretty arrogant of him. And of course, he lost. And I think he's lost touch. I think his votes these days, like he voted against Amy Coney Barrett, but he voted for Ketanji Jackson Brown. And these court votes are very important. I think he's left the state. He's just too liberal for the state. And I don't know. It's time for a change there. It's been long enough. And I think this, West Virginia is a strongly conservative state. People here, they like their faith, their values, which are under attack these days. Inflation is killing us here in West Virginia. A lot of folks living on fixed income.
Inflation is killing people in West Virginia. A lot of people are living on a fixed income. How does who Joe Manchin voted for in reference to Supreme Court justice, how does that have anything to do with the economic situation for people in West Virginia? It has nothing to do with that. Nothing. You guys see the big disconnect here? He's going to talk about the people struggling financially, but at the same time, he's going to say, oh, Joe Manchin is too liberal. That has nothing to do with the people struggling financially in West Virginia. Because I just told you it's one of the poorest states in the nation. Who is the governor of West Virginia? Is anybody talking to the governor? We want to talk about what's happening on the local level in West Virginia instead of pointing to these senators. And Joe Manchin is who he is. He's corporate. I don't expect him to do much. But what's happening on the local level? Because West Virginia is one of the most corrupt political systems in the country. Talk to people there, they'll tell you that. Who's the governor? What's the governor doing? What are the mayors doing in West Virginia? What are the city councilors doing in West Virginia? That's who people really need to be talking to.
Joe Manchin is voting for all these spending bills that Joe Biden wanted to vote for, and spending's out of control, inflation's out of control. The last bill he voted for hurt to the coal industry, which is huge in our state. So I don't think he represents West Virginia well.
Well, I mean, people say, well, Joe Manchin's the only one to stand up against packing the court. He's the only one to stand up to keep the filibuster. He's the only one to stand up against massive Build Back Better. What do you say to that?
Yeah, sometimes he acts conservative, but when push comes to shove, he's a loyal, partisan Democrat.
Sometimes he acts conservative and pushes conservative, but when push comes to shove, he's a Democrat. That is the party that he belongs to. This is just, do you see, you cannot talk about the economic situation of the people there and blame it on whether or not the person representing them is Republican or Democrat. What you should be doing is blaming those local politicians. You should be blaming big money that has come into those politicians, whether they're local or whether they're on the federal level. That's what you should be blaming. He brings up the coal industry, the same coal industry that's killing people in West Virginia, the same coal industry that's making people sick in West Virginia. Paula Jean Swearengin talked about this. She talked about the fact that so many people, she's a coal miner's daughter, the number of people that they've had to bury in West Virginia because of the environmental pollution. Anybody coming up with a solution to fix that? So it's just funny to me. It's hilarious seeing this clip on Fox News. It's really funny to me that he's trying to blame the fact on, oh, because he voted for these 2 Democrat policies or whatever. They're trying to blame that on the economic situation of people in West Virginia, when the economic situation for people in West Virginia has been that way for years. I'll let this finish, and then we're going to go to the next clip.
He just couldn't say no to Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer over there, and he went along with their agenda. I'd say now we have the House of Representatives, like the Republican. Those extreme issues are off the table, but we need a Senate. And I would just say, look at his vote. This, like I said, this is Donald Trump's second best state. He voted to impeach Donald Trump twice. When he did that, I thought he must not even think about running for re-election. I mean, those impeachment hearings were a sham. It was an outrage to this country. Frankly, whether you support Donald Trump or not, the impeachment process was a complete farce and outrage.
The impeachment process of Donald Trump has nothing to do with the economic situation of people in West Virginia. See how he's trying to pivot and make it just about partisan politics instead about class and the class divide? Why haven't people in West Virginia risen up already? Why haven't they? There's not a lot of rich people in West Virginia. Why haven't the working class and those who are poor in West Virginia, why haven't they risen up already to push back against a Joe Manchin? Why? What is happening there? Because I don't get it. I really don't. Look, I live in Massachusetts. I live in a state that has over 300,000 millionaires in this state. There are great wealth disparities here, but we're one of the wealthiest states in the U.S. Compare that to West Virginia, and you see all the people there living in poverty, all the people dying. Why hasn't the working class and those who are poor come together in some way, shape, or form and really rise up against the oligarchs in West Virginia? People are so focused on partisan politics. They're fighting over red versus blue when they're getting screwed by both because they're both take corporate money and they're not helping the people. There's a class war. There's a class war. And as long as people are consistently divided and distracted over the red-blue game, nothing is ever going to change for you. I want to be very clear about that. The Black Panthers knew this, by the way. Malcolm X knew that. MLK knew that. Nothing is going to change if you continue to fight over red versus blue instead of the haves and the have-nots.
For Joe Manchin to vote to impeach Donald Trump, I think betrayed West Virginia voters. And we are almost 70% voted for Donald Trump. I don't see them voting for Joe Manchin. I think he's going to lose.
Do you think he's going to run again? I mean, he's already in his 70s. He's already been governor. He's had this job for a few terms. Are you convinced he's running?
I'm not convinced he's running. It wouldn't really make sense for him to run. He's going to lose. The state, even since he barely won 4 years ago, our state has become far more Republican by registration. The numbers aren't there for a Democrat to win here. I don't know if he will. That's his choice, like you said. Look, he may not win the primaries. You know, he might have a primary that he has to contend with. Who knows? All I know is I'm running.
You're in,
and I think I'm in this state, and this state needs a Republican.
Congressman Alex Mooney, they poked the bear, and you are now in this game, and you're ready to fight. Thanks so much.
Ready.
Okay, so you heard that there. So it does look like Joe Manchin is going to have a challenger, a Republican challenger. I sincerely hope that people wake up this time around and realize that neither one of these guys are actually going to help them. I'm going to go to the super chats, and then we're going to go to the next video here about Kevin McCarthy. And I want to make a connection here about what they're trying to do and what should have happened when the progressives had that power. Because we're starting to see a transition here. We're starting to see, now the Republicans have the House, and we're starting to see how the Democrats that are there could have used the leverage that they had to do some of the things that now some of those Republican politicians are trying to do. Thank you for the super chat, Harrison, friend of the show. Hi, Sabby. Cheers from one Bostonian to another. Cheers, Harry. Thank you so much. And thank you for the super chat, Justin. There's zero political education here. That's a part of the problem, Justin. That's a part of the problem. Thank you so much for the super chat, Natalie. Quit falling for the good cop, bad cop shit. That's right. That's right. You got to quit falling for it. Neither of them are trying to help. Neither of them are trying to help. Now, let's go ahead and get to this clip here about Kevin McCarthy. So this is the buzz that's happening now, which is that Kevin McCarthy is set or planning to become Speaker of the House. Now, the same way that Joe Manchin was able to use his leverage in the Senate, that's what we were asking for progressives to do in Congress, to work together as a bloc. Well, now it appears that some politicians are willing to do that, just not the ones that we want to do it. Let's get into this story here. Now, again, shout out to Case Study QB for this clip. This is another awesome one. Kevin McCarthy's daunting task of becoming Speaker of the House and the dynamics of gathering the vote. You're not going to believe this. Here we go.
Now is the time when every Republican in Washington starts bullying Kevin McCarthy. McCarthy is currently the Republican leader, so he is all but guaranteed to become Speaker of the House come January when the new Congress is sworn in. Mostly because anyone else capable of doing the job is, well, smart enough not to want it at this point. As Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw of Texas told HuffPost, quote, "There's no other alternative." Today, the House had their preliminary secret leadership vote, the House Republican Caucus, and in that, McCarthy seemed to dispatch his only real rival, the far-right election denier Andy Biggs of Arizona. In that preliminary speakership vote, this is just within the Republican caucus, 31 Republicans voted against McCarthy. That means he got 188 votes. He will need 218 to wield the speaker's gavel, which is...
Okay. 31 Republicans voted against Kevin McCarthy, but we couldn't get one member of the squad to vote against Nancy Pelosi. 31. Let's go on. There's more.
A vote of the full House of Representatives. And he now has to work tirelessly to get his party unified behind him. Now, this naturally gives the fringes of the Republican Party, the far-right Freedom Caucus, the unofficial MAGA Troll Caucus, an extraordinary amount of power. They can make or break McCarthy's speakership. They are going to maximize their leverage, and they are going to make him sweat a lot.
They are going to maximize their leverage, and they are going to make him sweat. Let me ask you a question. Why is it that Republican politicians in the House are willing to use their leverage, but the progressive politicians in the House were not? Why is that, guys? You mean to tell me they about to force a vote? They're about to make some demands to Kevin McCarthy? Kevin McCarthy, if you want our vote, we got a list of demands. What? What is happening here? But when we were asking the squad to do that, people are like, no, don't pressure them. No, don't do that. Kevin McCarthy will become speaker. And Nancy Pelosi stepping down anyway. Was it worth it? Was it worth it to cave? This is ridiculous. Who has more balls right now? Who has it to really push back on a speakership? When we talked about this, people said, oh, God, no, they should never try to do that to Nancy Pelosi. That would be brutal. That would be terrible. She's gone. So what was it all for? Was it worth it, Cori Bush? Was it worth it, AOC? Was it worth it, Rashida Tlaib? You mean to tell me that these 31 Republicans have decided, let's use our leverage? The Freedom Caucus has decided, let's use our leverage. Let's make Kevin McCarthy do some things for us in order for us to get our vote. You mean to tell me that they are more brave than the progressives were, who were supposed to hostilely take over the Democratic Party? So you mean to tell me the hostile takeover is actually happening in the Republican Party? What is happening here? This is a joke. Let's go on. There's more.
Lot. And here's the thing. Whether they're doing it explicitly or implicitly, they are really wielding that power on behalf of Donald Trump to essentially force Kevin McCarthy's hand to do whatever the ex-president wants, to make him the shadow speaker. Trump is apparently already demanding McCarthy's complete fealty, at least according to his close advisor, Jason Miller.
What I would like to see, Steve, I do think that Kevin McCarthy needs to, if he wants to have a chance of being speaker, he's being much more declarative that he is supporting President Trump. I thought what Elise Stefanik did yesterday was very smart. And fact of the matter is, it's going to be a MAGA-centric caucus.
It's probably true. Now, even if McCarthy does cave and get behind Trump for 2024, that MAGA caucus is still going to make his life a living nightmare. That's not going to end it.
That caucus is going to make his life a living nightmare, the same way the squad could have done this to Nancy Pelosi. Make her life a living nightmare.
Concessions that some of those folks, those far-right Republicans, are demanding on condition of supporting McCarthy for speaker would be the return of a procedural rule, sort of obscure, but it's known as the motion to vacate the chair. And the thing about that is it effectively allows any member to submit a vote of essentially no confidence in the speaker. Way back in July of 2015, then Republican Congressman Mark Meadows filed a motion to vacate against then Republican Speaker John Boehner, which effectively forced Boehner into retirement. Boehner was like, screw this, I'm done. I'm going to go retire with my red wine and cigarettes. See you guys later. The same threat also loomed over Boehner's replacement, Republican Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. But unlike Boehner and McCarthy, it was obvious to anyone watching that Ryan did not actually want the job. So after 2 years, he was like, okay, I'm out too. I'm going back to Wisconsin. Now, it is unclear if the far-right Freedom Caucus will succeed in bringing back the motion to vacate. But either way, MAGA diehards will absolutely be calling the shots here. Again,
isn't that a damn shame? The MAGA diehards will be calling the shots. If I were members of the squad, I would be embarrassed right now. They should be embarrassed. How you let them out? How you let them outflank you like that? How you let them do that? This is a chess move. The squad didn't want to play chess. They wanted to play checkers. The Freedom Caucus is out here playing chess. And they're using their leverage to get what they want. What is the point of Justice Democrats if they're not going to use their leverage to push back against the corporate Democrats in the party? What is the point of it? There is no point of it. It's a joke. How you let them do you like this? Really? You mean to tell me Marjorie Taylor Greene, who, by the way, she hasn't been there longer than AOC. So you mean to tell me she got all this guts to push back against someone for speakership, but someone who was there before her can't do it? I hope everybody sees this. I hope everybody sees the writing on the wall here. This is why I can't defend them. When people ask me, oh, you're too hard on the squad, you need to give them some more credit. Give them credit for what, boo? They're not using their leverage. If they did use their leverage to get us some shit, I would give them credit. They haven't done it. They're scared. They're weak. They're paid. They got book deals now. They have speaking engagements that they get paid for. They're celebrities. They're on the cover of Time magazine. So I give them no credit because they're not using their leverage for the people who got questions. I call it like I see it. I'm not a vote blue no matter who. Thank you for the super chat here, Daniel. Did you see the clip of what Matt Gaetz said about getting rid of insider trading, reforming campaign finance, and single subject line rule? I despise Gaetz, but this is a chance to get some of this stuff down for good. Again, why are the progressives not doing that? This is so corrupt. The Democratic Party is going to mess around and they're going to allow the Republican Party to capture the working class. That's what's going to end up happening. Mark my words. Because the Democratic Party, they have kind of, they're embracing the coastal elites. They're hanging out with Goldman Sachs. They're hanging out with people like that. They're hanging out with Wachovia or Wells Fargo now. They're hanging out with Wells Fargo. They're hanging out with the banks, with the elite academics. They're not coming to talk to people working class. They give zero fucks about the working class anymore. How you let the Republican Party come in and do that? Such a mess. Such a freaking mess. I don't know what to say. It's a nightmare. We're going to go to this other nightmare. Oh my God. People lost their shit. Last night, when I finished my call-in show, I went on to Twitter and all of a sudden I started to see RIP Twitter. Twitter is done. Tumblr. Do we go to Facebook? And I'm like, what is this about? So I do a little bit of digging to find out that once again, Elon Musk has stepped in it. Stepped in it. So let's go ahead and get into this discussion here. After Elon Musk ultimatum, Twitter employees start exiting. And this is another way of using your leverage. When you have great numbers, it's easier to piece the fuck out. Let's just be real. Let's go into the article here. Hundreds of Twitter Inc. employees are estimated to have decided to quit the beleaguered social media company following a Thursday deadline from new owner Elon Musk that staffers sign up for long hours of high intensity or leave. So again, this is capitalism at play. This is Elon Musk trying to make more money as if he needs more money because of greed. Let's go on. Tech employees usually work long hours anyway. And he wanted them to work more. The departures highlight the reluctance of some of Twitter's 3,000 or so employees to remain at a company where Musk earlier fired half of the workforce, including top management, and is ruthlessly changing the culture to emphasize long hours and intense pace. Boy, I tell you, Musk took to Twitter late on Thursday and said that he was not worried about resignations as the best people are staying. The billionaire also added, "We just hit another all-time high in Twitter usage," without elaborating. Musk met some top employees on Thursday to try to convince them to stay, said one current employee and a recently departed employee who is in touch with Twitter colleagues. The company also notified employees that it will close its offices and cut badge access until Monday, according to sources. Security officers began kicking some employees out of one office on Thursday evening. Over 110 Twitter employees across at least 4 continents had announced their decision to leave in public Twitter posts reviewed by Reuters. Though each resignation could not be independently verified, about 15 employees, many in ad sales, posted their intention to stay at the company. In Twitter internal chat tool, over 500 employees wrote farewell messages on Thursday. A poll on the workplace app Blind, which verifies employees, through their work email addresses and allows them to share information anonymously had showed 42% of 180 respondents opting for Twitter taking exit option, I'm free. A quarter said they had chosen to stay reluctantly, and only 7% of the poll participants say they clicked yes to stay. I'm hardcore. The exact numbers of employees intending to leave the company could not be immediately established. Twitter did not respond for a request of comment. By the way, Elon Musk is making jokes about this on Twitter. I don't know if you've been on Twitter today or if all of you are on Twitter. He's making jokes about it. Platform stability. The departures include many engineers responsible for fixing bugs and preventing service outages. Well. Raising questions about the stability of the platform amid the loss of employees. Let's go on. On Thursday evening, the version of Twitter app used by employees began slowing down. So this is where people started to panic. Now, I didn't have that experience last night. I didn't have that experience today. But initially, this is what made people on Twitter start to panic. So let's go on. If it does break, there is no one left to fix things in many areas, says the person who declined to be named for fear of retribution. Reports of Twitter outages rose sharply from less than 50 to about 350 reports on Thursday evening. Now, that's according to website Down Detector, which tracks website and app outages. In a private chat on Signal with about 50 Twitter staffers, nearly 40 said they had decided to leave. And in a private Slack group, Slack groups are never private. I'm just going to tell you. I have to say this. I'm sorry. I have to pause and say a lot of these groups that you think are private, they're not really private. Just keep that in mind. This is why I tell people don't say anything in a DM group that you don't want someone else to see. In a private Slack group for Twitter's current and former employees, about 360 people joined a new channel titled Voluntary Layoff. A separate poll on Blind asked staffers to estimate what percentage of people would leave Twitter based on their perception. More than half respondents estimated at least 50% of employees would leave. This is also what made a lot of people panic yesterday on Twitter, because the reality is, if 50% of the employees leave, you're not going to be able to run this app. You'd have to have people running around the clock. You really need to have those engineers, by the way, like when there are bugs and there's issues with the app, you have to have those people. Early Wednesday, Musk had emailed Twitter employees saying, going forward, to build a breakthrough Twitter 2.0 and succeed in an increasingly competitive world, we will need to be extremely hardcore. This guy, I tell you. The email asked staff to click yes if they wanted to stick around. Those who did not respond by 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday would be considered to have quit and given a severance package. That's what the email said. As the deadline approached, employees scrambled to figure out what to do. One team within Twitter decided to take the leap together and leave the company. One employee who is leaving told Reuters. Blue hearts and salute emojis flooded Twitter and its internal chat rooms on Thursday, the second time in 2 weeks as Twitter employees said their goodbyes. Notable departures includes Tess Rennerson, who was tasked with building a cryptocurrency team at Twitter. Rennerson tweeted the blue heart and salute emojis. In an apparent jab at Musk's call for employees to be hardcore, the Twitter profile bios of several departing engineers on Thursday described themselves as softcore engineers or ex-hardcore engineers. As the resignations rolled in, Musk cracked a joke on Twitter. I told you guys, he was joking about this. How do you make a small fortune in social media? Start out with a large one. That came from Elon Musk. Whew. I do not know how much longer it is going to be around. Some people are expecting it to drop it up this weekend. I do have a video clip I want to play here. And I also want to show you where people are going right now in the event Twitter goes away. But I have to tell you something really quick. When I heard the news last night, instead of being worried or afraid, can I be honest with you guys? Part of me was relieved. Because I remember how things were before Twitter. I remember how things were before social media. And although I post on Twitter, Twitter can be a very toxic place, way more toxic than Facebook or any other app that I've used. And I have noticed that since I have been on Twitter, I spend way too much time on Twitter. So the fear that I think a lot of people were feeling was like, oh no, how am I going to communicate with people the same way we did before Twitter? This is one of the problems with social media. You know, we used to meet each other more so in person, and I felt like there was more communication done in person. And I feel like some people have tried to replace that communication with online communication. And it's not the same. It really isn't. Sometimes you think, you know, you're talking to someone that you're really not talking to. People aren't always who they say they are on these online platforms. So for me, I had to ask myself, if Twitter crashes, is that the end of the world? No, it's not. If people want to contact you, can they find another way to contact you? Yes, they can. But what was really scary was the fact that we rely on this app so much. That was very scary. Now, don't get me wrong. There have been things about Twitter that have really helped. If it wasn't for Twitter, I would have never met Rome or CJ or Nick or JB. If it wasn't for Twitter, RBN wouldn't have grown as fast as it did. A lot of our views in the beginning was coming from our promotions on Twitter, us putting our content out there on Twitter. So that was what was bringing people over initially, because YouTube was not, the algorithm was not trying to dance with us. So there were pros about it. There are people that I've met on Twitter that I've been able to meet in real life, other activists in person. So yes, Twitter introduced me to them. But the more I look at it, most of the time when I scroll down my feed on Twitter, I just see a lot of drama, a lot of fighting, arguing, a lot of negativity. I don't see a lot of positive tweets. I really don't. Maybe it's because I'm in independent media. Who knows? But for most part, I don't see that. Where are people going, though? So I do want to share this with you because I already created a profile over at this site. It sort of looks like Twitter, but it's a little bit different. And I want to play this video for you here. I can't play the entire video here, but it compares the difference between the two. And I just want to show you what it looks like. Just going to play a little bit of this. So I do have a profile over there. I went ahead and got that going, but here we go.
Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Explorographer, and today we're going to be talking about a brand new social platform called Mastodon. And what makes Mastodon different from other social platforms is that it is completely decentralized, which means that you can run your own server or you can join a friend's server and keep it all local just between your friends.
Okay, I want to interrupt right there. This is the part that confuses some people. The thing about Mastodon, when you go to create a profile on that site, it asks you to select a server. There's multiple servers that are mentioned, and there's different categories for those servers. So where some people got confused is they thought, okay, I signed up, I picked this server, I have a profile, I'm on there now, but my friend is on a different server. So how can I communicate with them? You can still communicate with them. For example, I signed up, I'm under the journalism server, right? So the Newsies, I'm on Newsies, right? Ron Baclone is on a different server, but I can still see Ron Baclone's post. I still followed him. So I wanted to go ahead and mention that because I don't want people to get confused, because when I first saw that, I was like, why you got to pick a server? Then, but the other thing about Mastodon is that it is decentralized. And from what I've seen so far, when I've been over on there, I haven't seen a lot of drama. It seems to be a little bit more like, I don't know, straightforward. Now, to say this, that does not mean this platform does not have censorship. They do. I want to be clear about that. And I just thought about Panquake and the fact that now would have been a good time for Panquake to have started, to have launched. I don't know where they are in the process of that. Hit that like button, guys.
And also stay connected to main hubs in the outside world. And that's really a good thing. It's not run by any one company. It is free and available to the public, and there's no advertising. It's awesome. So today I thought I'd show you how to get started with Mastodon. And if you like this sort of content, please give me a like, subscribe, all the things to do on YouTube, hit the notification bell, and I'll make some more of these videos. Let me know down in the comments if that's what you're into. So let's get started with your first Mastodon account. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to go to joinmastodon.org, and you can get the app for your phone, or you can actually log in online and use it through a web browser like I'm doing. So I'm going to show you the web browser way, but you can get the app for your phone and it'll be pretty similar. So let's take a look and find a server here. So the very first thing you're going to do is need to find a server. Now, if you've got a friend who's giving you like a recommendation or an invite, you can always just join their server. But there's also public servers out there that are fairly large and fairly safe to join. And one of those is the mastodon.social server. It's kind of like the beginning server to join. So you can get started there if you want. Here is the Mastodon server, and you can go ahead and click the join button. Now, basically, what you're going to need to do when you get here is you're going to need to create an account. Now, this is an instance. So when you first create an account, set it up, and this will be a brand new place. So I'm just going to basically use the account that I currently have.
Just want to pause here. When you go to create an account, this is what it's going to show you, the ground rules. So it says like no sexually explicit or violent media, no spam or advertising, no racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, or casteism, no incitement of violence or promotion of violent ideologies, no harassment, dogpiling, or doxing of other users, and no illegal content. So just FYI, this is not a site that is not censored. So I do want to put that out there.
And then that way I can show you, but you'll have to fill this out yourself. So we'll go ahead and do here. And you can follow me if you like on Mastodon, and I will provide a link down in the description of this video so that it takes you directly to my account. So once you've got all of your information filled in, all you need to do at that point is hit the sign up button, and you will get an email that you'll need to confirm. So you just go to your email, confirm that. It will look like this, and you'll need to verify your email address.
Okay, one other thing I want to add. Yes, you'll get the email to verify your email address, and then you can start using your account. However, some of the servers you have to be approved to use. So the one that I'm on, the Newsies server for like journalists, that server actually requires approval. So I had to wait a couple of hours before they approved it. And then they sent me approval email and said, okay, yes, you can be on this server. That's important for people to note. The ones that ask you to, that require approval, it will say that when you go to sign up, it'll say apply. Whereas the other ones, you can just jump right on and join. So just keep that in mind. There are some that they're very particular about. They want you to know, they want people to prove that they are who they are and you're doing what you say that you're doing. So just keep that in mind.
Let's just click that button. And then that will bring you to your first page. And you can start following people here if you want. What I do is like to set up my overall screen the way I see it. So the first thing you'll want to do is come into Edit Profile. Fill out all of your information here. You can add a header. You can add an avatar. All of that kind of stuff. You can set it up for require follow requests and all that. You can go ahead and do all of that on your own. You can also put in bios and your links here for your website or other socials that you might be on. And one of the things that I think is very important that you do actually set up here, let me save those changes, okay, is come to preferences. This is one of the first things you'll want to do. And you want to enable advanced web interface. So if you're going to be on the web, of course, it's a little different if you're on mobile, but if you're going to be on the web version of this or the desktop, definitely set that up. All right. And then go ahead and hit save changes once more. Now, when you come back to Mastodon, it's going to look like this. Now, this is very familiar to anybody who's used TweetDeck or Tweeter or any of those kind of things for Twitter. Very nice setup here. Your basic setup is going to be 3 feeds. You're going to have your home, or what they call your feed that is curated, and then you're going to have a local feed, which is everything that's going on your current server. And then you're going to have a federated timeline. And the federated timeline is basically all of the servers together.
Right. I'm not going to let him go too much further in there because I don't want to confuse people, but I am going to share that link with you guys so you can see this full video. I'm just going to be honest with you and keep it real. It's just easier if you do it on the app. Okay. Because when you do it on the app, what he's talking about with the feed and the different servers and things like that, it will just look, it kind of looks similar to what Twitter looks like on the Twitter app, but just don't do it on the web interface. I'm just being honest with you. But a lot of people have already moved over there. That started last night. That includes some of you guys, some of the RBN members, other commentators, other people in independent media. They've already moved over there. So I posted mine on Twitter. I will link it going forward in all of my videos. I'll put that link there so people know where they can come and follow me. Like I said, we don't know what's going to happen if Twitter is even going to be up this weekend. So we have to have some other place to go, I guess, so we can still kind of converse with each other. But this was all just an interesting eye opener to me, because it just goes to show you how much we really have been depending on social media. Now, a lot of people were panicking, man. So it was kind of freak out. It was kind of a freak out. Monarch said, Mastodon sounds like Discord 2.0, Sabby. Kind of, yeah. It does kind of remind me of that in a way, but I think it's easier on the mobile app. I'm just being honest, because I looked at both interfaces. But you should still do it as you should still have a backup, you guys. Regardless if Twitter shuts down or not, nobody knows what Elon is up to. He's just kind of gone rogue, and he's made some bad decisions here. The other thing is too, some people have also moved over to Tumblr as well. And some people are contemplating trying to do Facebook again. I don't really think Facebook is the place for the type of discussions that we have. I still do have a Sabby Sab's Facebook page where I just post my videos. But in terms of like interaction and engaging with each other, I don't find Facebook to be that great for that from politically. From the experiences that I've had. But you can also check out Tumblr as well. But I did want to let you guys know where people are going, because I don't want to just tell you, here's the problem, and then not tell you, okay, what can you do, right? But some people are already over there. I think Katie Halper's already over there. I know Ron Paclone is already over there. So good idea to do it for backup anyway, just in case. All right. And anyone that you follow on Twitter that you don't want to lose, like, that's why I think you should go ahead and set up an account over there and give them your profile. So that way they can follow you over there too. Or you can do things the old fashioned way, guys, and just get each other's email address and their phone numbers. We could do that, guys. Just kidding. I'm not giving out my number. But that being said, there are other places that you can go. So, all right, I am going to be heading out. If you want more Sabby, I'll be back on my channel tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I actually am going to be talking to two worker co-op peeps are coming on that have started their own worker co-op, and they're going to tell you how to do that as well. So for those of you who ask me, how can we do these things? There are people coming on that are going to explain to you tonight how to do it. So that's important for you guys to note. So that'll be educational. I also have news. Am I sharing this here? Oh, I thought I was sharing my screen. I'm sorry. I'm also going to discuss this interview that Bree had with Rokana about the student loan blockage. That's really important because I want you to hear what he had to say about that and next steps. We're going to talk about Pramila Jayapal's interview that she had and why she seems to be so hopeful. We'll get into that. Of course, we're also going to discuss that Nancy Pelosi has decided to step down. We're going to go into a little bit of her background as well. Some of the things she's done in the past to show you how she has changed as a politician. And of course, like I said, the worker co-op peeps will be on tonight. Should be pretty cool. I'm also going to do call in afterwards as well as I usually do on Friday nights. So I am heading out, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you learned something tonight. And you know how we do this. Have a good night. Keep up the fight.